Blog Talk Radio.
Here at ACO Radio, American Communications Online, or any affiliated stations or websites are not responsible for what guest hosts or call-ins may say. All programming is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only.
Hello, world. This is TJ Marsh, and
Hello,
you're
everybody.
listening to our
Hi.
syndication with Janet Care
We're
Lessin.
both here.
Go ahead,
Hi.
Janet.
We have two shows calling in at the same time, so we haven't done this in about 3 years, so we're having fun here. Anyway, we are syndicated. I was in the middle of saying hello to everybody, and then your disclaimer came in. It's like, what? Okay. Anyway, let me pick up, and then we'll go back to TJ, and TJ can say hi. But this is a panel with Karen Gresham Nickell, Janette and Lessin, Theresa, Janette and Morris. Okay, and today's an episode of UFO Secret Space. And this is part 2. We did our part 1 show with Karen in our panel last week, and it was so much fun. We're doing it again. We might do this forever. Who knows? Well, we'll do it periodically. But Karen,
I don't know if I can live that long.
Yeah, none of us know how long we're going to live anymore. It's like you used to think you had a certain amount of time, and then these pandemics come in. It's like, oh no, this might be my last day. This might be my last year. It's a new way of thinking of the world and life. Anyway, I'm not going to go through Karen's bio. I have a page up on aquarianradio.com. I think TJ has it up on her website, so she'll tell you about where she's listed today's show. So I will pass the talking to TJ, and I'm so you learn our voices. I'm Janette and Lessin, and that's TJ. And Karen, say hello. So we got your voice.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here tonight with you guys. It's always fun. We always have a good time.
Yes, we do. Okay, TJ. Now I'm past. So we have this virtual talking stick, and the other person's supposed to shut up when the person gets the talking stick. It's a theory. It doesn't always work. I'm passing it to TJ, and it doesn't mean you take it for the whole time. You're supposed to talk for about 3 minutes to 5 minutes, and then you pass it on, because it's a round table. We're going around the table. Okay, TJ. Hello.
Okay. Hi, Janet.
Hi,
TJ. Janet's in Hawaii. Hi, Karen. This is great.
Hi, I'm in Dallas.
Florida. You're in Dallas, and Janet's in Maui.
Yeah, that's a triangle.
Folks, yeah, we got a good thing going here. There are 3 women. I've got it called Cosmic Awakening on my site, Ascension Age, with Karen Gresham Nickell, Janet K. Lessin, and Theresa J., because it wouldn't let me. I already had too much on it. But at least when it shows up on Spreaker and on YouTube, it'll show, Karen, Janet, and Theresa up there. But this one for me is Cosmic Awakening, Ascension Age. Now, Janet, on Spreaker, when it hits YouTube, what's your show called tonight? I can't see your title. What's your title?
I put it up. I put it up on UFO Secret Space because that's a site we created a couple of years ago. We both have at least at one point we both had a copy of it. So I looked the other day and I still have it. And so that's where we have it for now. But
those are great.
I might both have them. Yeah. Well, we have all these names we put up there. It's too many, but I looked and I saw that I still have the website. But what do you want to talk about? I think last week we started on, a bunch of different things. I forget all we talked about. It was a really good show. But Karen,
I would like to hear. I would like to hear, Janet, what your background in relation to Zecharia Sitchin. That was really interesting. Would you tell us about that?
I would. So in 1997, I moved in with Dr. Lessin. I was living on Oahu. I met him at a conference, and he was teaching Tantra in Santa Cruz. I think it was Santa Cruz, California, or Santa Clara. Anyway, we met at Mount Madonna, wherever that is, and it was a yogic ashram type place. and we were doing a conference there. We were renting out their space, and we were attending a conference, and Dr. Lessin Sasha was teaching the Tantra. And I had always wanted to formally study Tantra. I was back dating again. I had been married monogamously since I was 16, so I was in my 40s, 42, 43 then. So after like 20 years of being married to different people, 22 years, I wanted to study relationships. I wanted to know why my relationships kept failing, and the common element was me, of course. So it was like, well, there must be something I'm doing wrong. So I ended up contacting the teacher of the Tantra part of this whole conference, and I said, I want to come to your part of the conference. What are you going to charge me? And he said, I waive my fees entirely. I went, what? I thought, this is the nicest person in the world. You know, he's supposed to get a couple $100. He doesn't know me from anyone. And so he waived his fee. So I firmed up my what I needed to do, plane tickets and getting a ride to the conference. And we were late, of course, because we had to connect with a third person, ride sharing. And when I got there, the only seat left was right across from him. And so we were looking at each other the entire workshop. And, I was attracted to him, but so was a lot of other people. You know, it was almost like we were in a meat market and the other people were taking numbers. I want him. We were like, oh, I don't have a chance in the world. This man could gather a harem here. So, anyway, fate meant that we were to come together. And when we went on the break, he came up to me right away. I went, oh, that's like my fantasy come true. And he's tall. He's like 6 foot, and I'm 5'2". And he said, oh, I thought you were taller. And then he thought for a second. He goes, oh, it must be your aura. You've got a really big aura. So anyway, we hit it off. And by the end of the conference, I was just like madly in love with him. And we kept running into each other everywhere we went. So this is a long story short. We fell in love. I was living in Oahu, and I just had a bunch of dysfunctional friendships and potential, sex partners or potential partners. But there was nobody that I wanted to be with. There was nobody I would want to marry, right? And deep down in my heart, I wanted to get married again. I like being married. So I ended up going back. We went to the second conference in upstate New York. I saw my parents for the last time when they were in Pennsylvania. I didn't know it was the last time I was going to ever see them, but they both died in that following. Well, my mom died later in that year, and then my dad died 2 years later. So anyway, so after we met at these 2 conferences, we ended up making love and falling in love, and I went back and I told all my dysfunctional relationships of leaving, and I moved to Maui. I just moved in with him. It was absolutely insane. You don't do that, right? But my heart was just so full, and it's like I had this invisible checklist, and he met every check in the yes column. It was like yes. And I said, if I do not just take this chance and get on a plane and move over there, I will regret it the rest of my existence, because I will have missed this opportunity. And, of course, it was magical. Now, one of the people that he was involved with over here in Maui was the people from the Prophets Conference. Now, ironically, because I'm in the New Age spiritual movement and always been involved with that, I had somehow found them on the Internet. Now, we're talking 1997. And I had been on the Internet since, 1990, 91, 92, 93, because I worked at Penn State University, and the universities were the first people to get the Internet. And we didn't know what it was called until then. And so since I was in computer science, that's part of my background, I was teaching people how to use their software and helping Penn State University. The university, we were transferring from paper, the old forms you fill out, to a whole system, which was 40,000 people ended up using. And I was part of the IT team. And involved in all the meetings, and I always end up in the president's office. So I ended up in the CEO's office who reported to the president, since they don't remember his name. But we're talking about the head of a 40,000 person organization, and then they have, I don't know, 100,000 students or something. So there I was, doing, and I'm only like a moderate computer science person. So, but I learned that whenever you need help, you get a geek. So anyway, fast forward, I got involved with I learned about listservs and emails and how to find people. So I found Cody and Robin Johnston. Now, Cody and Robin were tech savvy, right? And so it was just so weird when I ended up living with Dr. Lessin that he said, "Oh, my friends are coming over." And he said who they were. I go, "The Prophet Conference people." He goes, "Yeah, they're my best friend. They've known for 20 years. I go, "Oh, my God." So, this is how my life was magical and mystical. So I ended up getting an invitation to become the first Zechariah Sitchin certification program because they were sponsoring Zechariah Sitchin. And so back up a couple months before this invitation came, I didn't know how to tell my husband that I was an ET contactee experiencer, right? It's like, how do you tell your husband that, right? And so I put The Gods of Eden by William Bromley on the back of his toilet seat, the little shelf above it, because he'd always read in the bathroom, right? He always reads there. And it sat there for a while, and I go, "Oh, this isn't working." And I was really kind of afraid of saying it, because the worst thing would have been I got rejected. "Oh, you're some kind of, you'll phone that," and blah, blah, blah. But he came out of the bathroom one day, and someone goes, "Where did you get that book?" I go, "Well, I brought it," and he said, "Is there more?" So he ended up actually going with me down to Borders. Never Borders. That's our generation. And we bought every book they had on Zechariah Sitchin, and then what they didn't have in stock, we ordered. So he just became totally addicted because it answered his questions he had when he was a young anthropology student, doing his dissertation, doing his field work, and he would encounter these things that were not in the box. And in fact, in those days in academia, they kept pushing you into the box. If you had any ideas outside of the box, it's like, "No, you must conform. Do you want to get your PhD? Yeah, well, you better buy, the party line and not really say all this stuff." So he had encountered stuff, and they were just, things he couldn't explain. But when I got him into the Sitchin books, it was just phenomenal. So then when we got the invitation, and we didn't have a lot of money, but we pulled it together each and every time. It was like the universe wanted us to do this. And so he was hooked. So anyway, we were blessed to stay with Zechariah. Now, Zechariah was a little wonderful, strange man, had a funny voice. He was, and I'm learning the difference. There's Hasidic Jews, Orthodox Jews, secular Jews. My husband was raised, he's very kind of New Age Jew, very loosey-goosey. And each of them have different, it's kind of like, the Catholics and the Christians and the Mormons, different sections. So he was kind of New Age Jewish, but Zechariah was probably Orthodox. So he was always conflicted about how did these things resolve with his studies. And so studying, I saw Shitzel recently on, it was in an episode, and I highly recommend it. It was about these Jewish people, their culture, but all they do is study the Torah. They study it like every moment of their lives. The men do. They go every day and study it. So, of course, Zechariah was part of that culture where all they do is study it. And they actually they take it apart, word by word, syllable by syllable, letter by letter. And that's how he got immersed in the study, because that was his culture. I guess this whole new revelation about the culture. So he he was so, and they're detail oriented. So he wrote a series of, I don't know how many books, it was like